p.m. on Tuesday, August 21st. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the North Ridgeville City Schools Board of Education. Did I say meeting? Yeah, I did. To order. Call this meeting to order. If you can stand, please do so for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rolino, roll call, please.
Ms. Yetsey?
Here.
Ms. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Saxon?
Here.
Mr. Mira?
Here.
Mr. Baca? Here.
Finalization of agenda. We have a couple things to add under new business. Which is on page 13 on the agenda. Under new business, please add policy review. Under old business, please add North Point Education Service Center. It's a contract that didn't get put on my agenda, but we've been talking about for several weeks at our meetings. And under old business, please also put on evaluation meeting. And that is scheduled for August 30th. Anything else for finalization of the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Approval of minutes. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the video transcribed meeting minutes for July 17, 2018. Further, it is recommended that a written summary of the special and regular minutes for the meetings on July 3rd, July 27th, and July 17, 2018 be approved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Tamira, seconded by Mr. Baca. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Tamira?
Yes.
Mr. Baca? Yes. Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Education reports. I don't see any. Committee reports. No, I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead. I apologize. I skipped the hearing of public on agenda items. If there's anything on the agenda that anyone would like to speak about, now is your opportunity to do so. You can approach the podium and sign in with your name and address. Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports.
Okay,
Out of the Finance Committee.
under the Finance Committee, there's a resolution to approve specifications and authorizing advertising of bids to purchase 5 school buses through the Ohio School Council Cooperative Purchasing Program. Recommended the Board of Education approve the resolution as presented below. Whereas the North Ridgeville City Schools Board of Education wishes to advertise and receive bids for the purchase of 2 84-passenger school buses, 1 72-passenger school bus, and 1 54-passenger school bus with a wheelchair lift. Be it resolved, the Board of Education wishes to participate and authorize the Ohio School Council to advertise and receive bids on behalf of said board as per the specifications submitted for the cooperative purchase of 2 84-passenger school buses, 1 72-passenger school bus, and 1 54-passenger bus with a wheelchair lift.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Vaca, second by Ms. Saxon. Is there any discussion?
It says 5, but the description's for 4. So one missing in the description, or is the top correct?
That is, it should be 4.
Thank you. Make that change to 4 school buses. Is there any other corrections?
It's also on the front page.
Thank you. Seeing nothing else, roll call, please.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Mr. Mira?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. That brings us to the superintendent's report. This is Sarah.
This brings us to the consent agenda, where we have employment recommendations and 3 certified staff leave replacements. 1 as an intervention specialist at the Academic Center, effective for the 18-19 school year. The second is a 6th grade math leave replacement at the Academic Center. And the final replacement is also at the Academic Center for a STEM technology leave. We have a need to consider supplemental contracts, and these are 1 for the middle school athletic faculty manager, and the second is for our department head for a school nurse. We also have some special project stipends, and we had 1 additional teacher attend the literacy training, which was last week, Monday and Tuesday, run by Mr. Pritt, and done very well. We had several brand new teachers who were with us for the last 2 days, spending time getting to know our district, learning a little bit our policies and procedures, and what they needed to become successful as they step into North Ridgeville City Schools. We also have a new teacher workshop lead mentor who worked with these new teachers for the last 2 days. And that is for a total of 3 days at her per diem rate, not to exceed 24 hours. We have a need to consider some curriculum writing for advanced Google and 5th grade digital citizenship. This was a later hire who joined the group that was working on this and approved last month. We also had a new teacher join the Ranger High Tech Academy curriculum development for grades 4 through 6. And we had an additional teacher join the special education opening day, which actually happens this Friday. We have 4 support staff substitutes, again, who will substitute across the district in various capacities. Number 2 brings us to some adjustments. The first being A is certified staff, and this is for adjustments for those who have received additional education. B, for support staff adjustments, we have 2 that are being switched in hours. The first is to accommodate a student at the Academic Center. And the second is for, in addition to food service work at the high school, also effective for this school year. We have 3, that brings us to number 3. We have 2 certified staff leaves. Both are FMLA maternity leaves. One will return to us on September 13th, and one will come back on September 28th. Both of these are unpaid leaves. One is paid and one is unpaid. 4, we have a resignation of a healthcare associate, and that is due to the fact that she will later show up on the agenda to be appointed as our school nurse for the district. B brings us to support staff. We have 2 resignations. One is for the purpose of retirement at the Academic Center. The second is a food service worker, cashier, also at the Academic Center. The second is resigning to become a parapro in the district here at the Academic Center. We have a need to recommend that we accept the support staff substitute resignation effective August 9th, when they already resigned. And that brings us to the end of that portion.
Moved. Second. Moved by Ms. Saxon, second by Ms. Yetsey. Is there any discussion?
Okay.
Sorry?
Sorry.
It's okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to employment. We need to, as stated earlier, appoint a school nurse for the North Ridgeville City School Districts according to our negotiated agreement. This person has been with us here at the Academic Center for several years, and will be moving into that head position.
Second. Moved by Mr. Baca, seconded by Ms. Tamira. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
I'd which then leaves us a void to fill as a healthcare associate here at the Academic Center, and we would recommend that we approve this particular person for the healthcare associate for the 18-19 school year at the Academic Center.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Tamira, seconded by Ms. Yetsey. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Which brings us to support staff employment. We have a number of paraprofessionals, food service workers. Several of these have been discussed in previous board members. There is one change. Amanda Hernandez, the position was approved at the August 6th board agenda, on the board agenda, not the August 21st board agenda, that is today.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Saxon, seconded by Mr. Vaca. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to C, agreements. Again, we had discussed earlier that we did inadvertently run off. The first one is for Partners for Success and Innovation, commonly known as PSI. This is for registered nurse and licensed practical nurse services at St. Peter's School for the 18-19 school year, and this is out of our auxiliary funds. Number 2 is with the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. This is our annual renewal for students who have a hearing impairment or a vision impairment. At this time, we have less than 10 students who take advantage of the service. The third is for Belfair JCB, Jewish Children's Bureau for Monarch School. We have 3 students who attend Monarch School currently. Number 4 is with the Lorraine County Commissioners, and this is an interagency agreement for services for our 2.5 to 3-year-old school population for Early Head Start, Help Me Grow, and this is a service that helps those students work through their initial UTR and services moving forward as they become older. Number 5 is an agreement with Steps Academy. This is for consultation and tuition for 8 students who have severe autism, who are aggressive and self-injurious, and they attend Steps Academy. 6 is with Suburban School Transportation, and this is for 1 student who is transported to Steps Academy who needs a safe environment to and from school. And the final agreement is with Applewood Centers or Gersing School. These are for middle to high school students, and we do have 4 students who will be attending for the 18-19 school year.
Move. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Tamira, seconded by Ms. Yetsey. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Okay. D, we have an agreement with the City of North Ridgeville for 2 school resource officers, and the school, North Ridgeville City Schools, agrees to pay 1/2 of the amount. The city will pay the other half the amount, and our share would be $54,316.80 for the 18-19 school year.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Vaca, seconded by Ms. Saxon. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to publicly thank the police department. For those that aren't aware, last year the police chief came to the schools, and we'd already had conversations about adding a second resource officer. But in light of events that have happened around the country, he came to us last year and said he's just going to give us one for the school year last year. He felt there was a need to have a second resource officer, and this has been a partnership we've enjoyed with the city of North Ridgeville for a number of years now, where we have them for the lion's share of the calendar year, but yet we're only expected to pick up half the cost. So not only does the police department take kid safety seriously, the school district does as well, and this partnership benefits the taxpayers, and more importantly, the safety of our kids by adding a second resource officer. So this is in partnership in large due to the police chief and his concern for the safety of all our students.
Thank you, Mr. Vaca. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Okay, letter E brings us to the out-of-state field trip. And we recommend that we bring back the supervised out-of-state field trip for our middle school 8th grade students to travel to Washington, D.C. From May 22nd through May 24th of 2019. You know, this has been something that's been a hot topic. I've heard from many parents, also the middle school administration, that they really wish to bring this back. So we're happy to recommend that to you tonight.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Tamira and seconded by Ms. Yetsey. Sorry, Ms. Saxon.
That's okay.
They did it at the same time, so I
Oh,
have.
okay.
Nope, I don't want you guys fighting over it. Any discussion? Roll call? Yeah, roll call, please.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Okay, letter F is to approve the 1819 Unified Parent-Student Handbook. Very minor changes were made this year, and those minor changes really resulted in page numbers and the addition of our new mission, vision, and core values as a district. Everything else remains the same.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Ms. Yetsey, seconded by Ms. Saxon. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Excuse me. Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Okay, that brings us to Treasurer's Report. Mr. Verlingo, are you able to read that, or do you need some assistance?
Yeah, I should be able to. I don't
Okay.
have a coughing attack.
All right. If you do, I'm happy to take over for you.
Okay, the first was the financial report and report of interest and investments. Recommended the Board of Education approve the financial report and report of interest and investments for July of 2018. Just to note a couple of items, because in my board summary, since I've been out for a few days, I didn't have a chance to provide what I normally do. Cash balances are healthy. We also had a very good month with interest earnings of over $70,000. We are pretty much fully invested, where I do try to maximize the amount invested to maximize interest earnings for the district. So between bonds, CDs, and commercial paper, we do have $34 million invested for the district. If you go to the page 7, which was the July actual prior year, because usually in the first month or two, I'm setting up the forecasted budgets by month for the district. That's not yet in here, but if you look at it versus prior year, revenues from levies for taxes were up $1.2 million. That is subject to fluctuation depending on collection rates from the auditor. We will see definitely an increase in tax revenues this year versus prior year, probably in that amount, but again, it fluctuates. Now, we get 2 advances in the month of July and the final settlement in August, so that amount will probably go down once that final settlement occurs. In addition, our state funding should increase again slightly this year, so that I am anticipating increased revenues for the district. But overall, I think we're in a fairly healthy position right now. The November forecast will reflect any changes due to valuations and things that will occur to property values in the district this year.
Thank you, Mr. Verlingo.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Baca, seconded by Ms. Saxon. Is there any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Baca?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Mr. Muir?
Yes.
And Ms. McCarthy?
Yes.
Secondly, appropriations for lease purchase financing. Recommended that the Board of Education approve the appropriations for the lease purchase financing payments for fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $334,727.98 payable to U.S. Bank.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Saxon, seconded by Ms. Tamira. Is there any discussion? Mr. Berlingo, did you have something?
Well, this is the amount we borrowed against buses and other equipment last year at very low interest rates, some of which could be invested or used again to purchase like buses this evening. Definitely, as we grow, continue to buy more equipment that is fairly high priced, so that purchasing this, or at least doing this financing, allows us to obtain funds at very low rates and then use it for other purposes. The interest cost is more than offset by interest earnings that we get on investments. This is subject to annual appropriation because it is purchase financing. It's not considered debt.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Mr. Bakker?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. That takes us to old business. We have a need to approve the North Point Education Services Center agreement.
Yes, and that is for the aid services for a one-on-one aid for one of our students who live in residential care.
Mr. Bakker, or Mr. Berlingo, do we need to
We need to amend
the,
agenda.
okay, and then do the vote?
Correct.
Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to include North Point Education Services Center as a action item?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Bakker, seconded by Ms. Yetsey. That's to amend the agenda to include North Point Education Services Center as an actionable item. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bakker?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve the North Point Education Services Center agreement.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Saxon, seconded by Ms. Tamira. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Saxon?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Mr. Bakker?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Thank you. Ms. Saxon, that brings us to the evaluation meeting on August 30th.
Yes, so this is for the Board of Education and Mr. Berlingo and Mrs. Caserio. We have a meeting scheduled with our consultants next Thursday, and 3 of the 5 board members have orientation for our children here at the Academic Center. So my proposal is to move that meeting. We scheduled it for 6. If we could move it to 7 to allow us time to attend orientation, the first session at the Academic Center, where we could hear studio presentations and administrator presentations. And my question was, would that work with your personal schedules to be at that evaluation or at the orientation, and then to be here for that meeting at 7 p.m.? Okay. That works for you?
Yes.
All right. Seeing that works for everyone, please mark your calendars. Schedule that meeting on Thursday, August 30th at 7 p.m. here in the conference room. That brings us to new business, which is policy review. The policy committee had an opportunity today to meet along with the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the treasurer, with Neola. It's a service that offers policy development, policy training, and services throughout the year to update policy for us. Currently, we're using the Ohio School Board Association for that. We have a need and a desire to change over to Neola. Their services are more user-friendly for us. Their policies are easier, in my opinion, to read. I've been doing policy since 2011 when I was brought on to the board. So it seems like their policies are user-friendly and easier for us. So we'll be reviewing that at our work session and making a recommendation for moving to Neola services. But if anyone has any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer those. Okay, thank you. Any announcements? The Board of Education is doing a fundraiser for the Board of Education Scholarship Fund. We give 2 scholarships every year to graduating seniors. We are trying to increase that fund so that we can give $500 awards rather than $250 awards. So we are selling Ranger pop sockets that go on the back of your phones. Those will be in this week. They're $10 a piece, and you can get the Ranger mascot, or you can get the Ranger star logo. So that information is out actually now, and will be more out. That's appropriate, right? More out, and it'll be communicated again soon. More widely. It'll be more out widely. I was not an English major. Okay. Hearing of public on new items. If anyone would like to speak about an item that was not on the agenda this evening, now is your opportunity to do so. We ask that you sign in at the podium with your name and address, and also state that out loud.
First, I believe half of the people sitting at these tables I've known over the past 12 years. I've been a huge supporter of music program, the band and the choir. And during those last 12 years, I went to many board meetings and spoke. I wrote letters to get funding for the music department. And we got a little bit here and there. So a couple years ago, when you paid for, I believe, half of the band uniforms, I was really excited that we appreciated that. And then when I saw the board minutes from August 7th and we paid $263, I was like, wow, that's even great, even better. But I would just like to have a couple questions about that. When it says on here, it's like you had to go with Steinway & Sons to provide the contractual services needed for the purchase of the Steinway, Boston, and Essex. What does that mean?
I'm not sure what document you're referring to.
The North Ridgeville Board of Education special meeting August 7th.
No, I know that, but when you read what you just read,
Oh, it was the second line here.
Oh, okay. You might have to look at that again.
Or I guess, can you tell me, is this like a package deal? Do you get the pianos? Do you get a warranty? Do you get lifetime tuning? Or is this price just for the pianos?
Mr. Yunker, can you address that?
So Steinway, Boston, Essex are all part of the Steinway & Sons family.
Okay.
So that's why you see those 3 lumped on there.
Okay.
Included with this purchase are lifetime tuning and warranties with them. The 2 Steinway purchase pianos, the grand pianos that are going in the performing areas, come with enhanced improvements as well as locks for those. There's protective covers that go with those.
Okay.
So I hope that answers it, but yes, it comes with all warranty information and not lifetime tuning. They have special tuners that come out and will perform these tunings once a year.
Okay. So what's the lifetime warranty cover?
I'd have to look up it. It's the anticipation of 50 years. I have decided.
But I mean, what does it cover? Like damage by students? Does it cover?
I will have to look. I don't have the fine print in front of me to know what exactly that covers.
Okay. And I guess one of my other concerns is the price of the 2 Steinways. That maybe if we had gotten like a cheaper one, like $40,000 to $50,000, and bought 2 of them, then that other $80,000 could have been on use of more band instruments for the kids. I'm not sure the reasoning behind going with a higher end. You know, I'm not sure if Steinway, if this group had a cheaper one, but that was my concern, that there could have been more money for other instruments. And then I'm also concerned about the 2 prices of these is the safety of it from the kids, especially which one of the Steinways will be at the Ed Center, the $103,000 or the $81,000?
At the early childhood learning community will be the second one you mentioned. The academic center here will be the first.
The $131,000.
Yes.
Okay. So are there going to be any precautions taken place because you have so many kids during the band, the choir, and the drama club to prevent this $80-some-thousand piano from getting not vandalized, but I mean damaged because you have so many kids on?
Yeah.
They're going to have like a little fence or something? I mean, are the kids going to be off of it or? I mean,
yeah, so it's twofold. Those two come with the lock, so we can lock.
Okay.
So kids can't mess around on it. There's a protective cover. The flip side, and I'm not going to pretend to be a musician, but we do want kids to also learn to play the piano. So it's not like we want to keep this completely under lock and key. Yes, we don't want that to be vandalized, and there are measures in place to do that. But the other part of this is to encourage kids to want to be involved and play pianos under the right supervision.
So is it mostly the teachers that are using these pianos? Because that's how it's been done in the past, unless like it's jazz band and then you have a student playing one of the pianos.
Yeah, I think most of this crew back here is going to be who uses the pianos.
Okay, okay. And
Ms. Flaggy, that was your 3 minutes, so I'm going to have to ask you to pause.
Okay.
In case there's anybody else that wants to speak, and if not, then you can have an additional.
Okay, then I only have 2 other questions.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak this evening?
My name is, do you have a pen?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My name is Heather Maldonado. I am at 35167 Spruce Street. My daughter is at the brand new beautiful academic center that we love. That was just my only concern, what she had expressed upon. I was a band geek too when I grew up and in choir and all that. So I fully support the arts. My daughter, that's her favorite. So I'm fully on board with that. My only concern was with just the cost of them. I wanted to know, do our kids still, I know like the football and stuff, they pay to play. Do like our band and choir people have to pay to play too? They do. So that was just my concern, was there any way that we could spend a little bit less so that maybe kids don't have to pay to play? That way more kids can have the opportunity to be a band geek like I was. So,
thank you.
Was there a certain reason why we chose the Signways? Was it just because of the like the warranties and stuff like that? Is that specifically why we chose them?
Mr. Younger?
Yeah. So it was a collaborative effort. Ms. Bryson and myself for the past, what's been nearly 9 months where these conversations started. And it was honestly, it began with research of all different brands of pianos.
Okay.
And we were intrigued and impressed with the Steinway & Sons representatives who came out numerous times to the district, evaluated every space that we have in every building. We were at their showroom multiple times, and the comfort level along with the quality of instrument that they can provide led us to choose them as the provider for our pianos.
Okay. So that's just my only concern, was I was hoping more money could go for the kids to have less money to pay. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a side note for Ms. Maldonado.
Yes.
Maldonado, did I say that right?
Yes.
Thank you. We do offer, I guess, I don't know if they're called booster bucks or whatever, so parents and students can volunteer, students, right? Parents or just parents? Mostly just parents.
Yes.
Parents can volunteer at concession stands and at different events throughout the academic year, and then that a portion of your volunteer hours gets taken off your pay to participate fees for the following year.
Okay.
So that's for middle school and high school.
Okay. My
So-
daughter's only in 4th, so I'm
Yeah,
not quite
so-
there yet, but
yeah.
that's good to know.
Yeah, just so you know, that is one of the things that the combined athletic and band boosters got together and said, you know, hey, school board, is this something you would support? And we said absolutely, because that gives them an opportunity to have the volunteers that they need, and it gives us an opportunity to give back to the families that are supporting our events.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Sure. Any other?
Just so you know as well, the play to participate fees,
Mhm.
because choir and band are curricular, those fees are less than the pay to participate fees for the athletic program.
Okay.
So the cost is less because that is part of our curriculum. So it's not outrageous what we're charging in band participating fees, and we did take into account when we took a look at it overall, that the fact that that was, like I said, part of the curriculum, so those fees are lower than the other paid to participate fees.
Okay. Anybody else want to approach?
My name is Haley Bryson, and my address is 2730 Maple. Board, I just wanted to thank you so much for investing into our music programs. People out here, before we received these pianos, our music programs have started to increase in participation in ratings as we go to OMEA adjudicated contests. Our drama department now has a musical. Like, these are things that have never happened in these past 6 years since I've been in the district. It's been amazing to see that, and that support that you've given us little by little. I mean, I feel as though it's earned, but we've been able to do it with the little resources we have, and now we have this wonderful opportunity. So thank you for supporting us as music teachers and giving us pianos to have in our curricular rooms and as classrooms, and just encouraging the arts as you do all of the other sports and all the other programs we have here. So thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Flavia, did you have other questions?
Yes, just one last one.
Please.
Usually, like, when you do the purchase of the buses and everything, you do it at a meeting here where the community can speak.
Sure.
But this one was done at a special meeting.
Yes.
Was there a reason why?
Because timing of it, so that we could get these beautiful instruments into the kids' hands before, or when school started.
Okay, that's what I said. Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything they would like to bring to the board's attention this evening? No, seeing none. It is recommended the Board of Education enter into an executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, compensation of public employees. Moved by Mr. Vaca, seconded by Ms. Tamira. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Ms. Tamira?
Yes.
Ms. Yetsey?
Yes.
Ms. Sacks?
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. Have a good evening.